Hello, Joel. How are you?
Hello, Valentina. Back from New York, back to Florida. Good to be back.
Welcome back and welcome to She. So, this is probably the last, we'll see if we'll keep going, but the last step we mentioned and talk about anxious attachment. We talked about avoidant attachment. We touched the secure attachment because this is really Joelle's gem. She wants to go deeper into the secure attachment. So, I guess, you know what? We don't really need much introduction because we talked about it again
Yeah.
more and more. So, there we go. Let's get it started.
So I'm going to just throw these out there, okay? Because
Yes.
there's different stages of secure attachment. One, these start with ourselves, and I'm going to explain even more. And we're going to talk about why it's so important that you find these within yourself. But let's just go through a quick little thing. So, through secure attachment, say you're in a relationship. First stage, what is it? Curiosity and interest. Oh, that's the fun stage, right? That's just two people feeling drawn to each other. There's attraction, some conversation, wanting to learn a little bit more. That's great. Second one, let's see if we can make it to the second one. A lot of people can't even make it to the second one, okay?
Exactly.
Emotional safety. This is now in mind. Keep this not just as two people, but even in yourself. So, emotional safety. That's where you begin feeling emotionally safe, starting expressing your needs or knowing your own needs for
Yes.
yourself, right? Boundaries, expressing your fears, vulnerabilities. Now, think about how hard this particular stage is for yourself. Now,
That's what
think
I was
about
thinking. Yes,
being
absolutely.
with someone else, right? And we're going to touch back on it. I'm just going to go through them. Three, reliability and consistency. Think of it in both ways. As a relationship, when you're getting to know somebody, are they consistent? You said you're going to
Yeah.
call. You didn't call. You said you're going to text. You didn't text. Also, look at it as yourself. Are you being consistent with yourself when you say you're going to set a boundary? Are you
Yeah.
crossing that boundary? Are you allowing the same shit to fly? Right?
Yes. Especially when no one is
Four,
watching.
exactly. Vulnerability and acceptance, same thing. It goes for being secure with yourself. Are you vulnerable with yourself enough? And are you accepting yourself? Are you accepting those things about yourself so that you can become secure? Same thing. It works with the relationship. Vulnerability and acceptance. Are you being vulnerable? Are you speaking your truth? Are you talking about your fears? Are you afraid that the other person's not going to accept you? And then what happens? Avoidant or anxious. You either
Yes.
flee or you get all crazy and anxious, right? Conflict and repair. Can we even get to that? Can we even get to conflict and repair? I'm wondering sometimes if we even make it past stage one. But the goal is to make it through conflict and repair. Conflict with yourself of maybe you got to be in a conflict with yourself of, hey, this is really attractive to me, but I'm in conflict because my body's not feeling safe. My nervous
Yes.
system's not feeling safe around this person. And then repair. Okay, now I'm going to speak about it. Can that person hold space for me? So these are all the things. Then, before you even get to interdependence, which would be where you're together, but you're not codependent, you're interdependent, right? So that you feel safe. And then deep trust and security. That's the ultimate goal. First, you have to have the trust in yourself and the
Yourself.
security in yourself to trust someone else, right? And that's that's where what happens? Your nervous system relaxes. Finally, you no longer feel like you have to analyze every text, overanalyze the text, all
Yes.
the shit that you do, right? Oh, maybe I'm misreading this wrong. Am I misinterpreting it? What it is what it is. But the problem is, in all those stages, why it's so important to go through each one with yourself and going through, you see how you can go through the stages individually and in a relationship. But if
Yes.
you have not gone through them individually first and understand them, how are you ever going to bring that to a relationship?
So my question, because that's so interesting, um, would you suggest doing this work and journey together, individually, but together as a couple?
Yeah, and see that's why with my coaching program, it's not just one-to-one with me. Those are 8 sessions one-to-one, but I have modules. Those
Mhm.
modules are meant to work through all of this stuff so that people can individually work through it. But this would be a great thing too for people who are then, say, married, say in a relationship, but can come in and be authentically honest. You know how many people are in relationships, marriages that really don't speak their truth to each other, don't real are not vulnerable. You're
No,
you're 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 sleeping with a stranger. But of course, if you're a stranger to yourself, how can you get here? The problem is I just recently had a situation. I'm single, I'm dating, I'm starting to get, um, you know, I know my needs and I'm not afraid to speak them now in a very compassionate
of
way,
course.
of being secure and knowing what works for me and what makes my nervous system go haywire. And I don't want my nervous system to go haywire. So say I meet somebody, I may be in, stage 2 or 3, but they're still in one, and they're now or two, and they're not showing consistency. But I'm feeling like, oh, and then there might be a conflict, so I'm in conflict resolution, and they can't even make it past one, or vice versa. So, my goal, my passion is, I love love. I'm a romantic. I love love. I love passion. It was my biggest karmic lessons in my life, and that's why it's my greatest gift to now use those wounds to teach and to help and to find love along the way myself. But don't think that just when we understand ourselves that those triggers are not going to come up. They
Oh, they
are.
will.
You're
They will.
always
Yeah, absolutely.
someone's always going to have a trigger finger, right? And they're always going to set you off. It's how you recover from that, right? But it's so
Let
important. It's so important.
Let's say one more time, a nervous system, like it's not that you're calm all the time. It's not that you're not around triggers. It's impossible because you're living a life,
It is.
but you are regulated enough to understand, see, react in a way that you actually, like you go back to being regulated and being calm, like how do you say, like that time is shorter, much shorter, and you notice and you
Your
observe it.
recovery time, your recovery
Exactly,
time,
the
your
recovery
rebound
time.
time.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's not that, okay, I'll be calm all the time, or there's no triggers. It's impossible. I get triggered, but how do I respond?
Well, right, because then sometimes when I get triggered, I had to say, okay, because I know that I've done this work, because I know I continuously do this work, say when a trigger comes up, I get to the point and say, okay, do I own this or does this belong to somebody else? Is this mine or is
Mhm.
this speaking from somebody else's wound? Yes, being intuitive, you can pick things up. Sometimes things I wish I couldn't pick up, but you can pick things up from people. And then you have to be able to say, okay, I am no longer to salvage the possibility of this situation, no matter what it is. It could be a relationship with a family member, friend, lover, a spouse, employee, business deal, whatever it is, it's still going to be the same steps because you're still going to have those same type of emotional reactions to it. And am I going to be able to hold this and be okay with the the outcome? And that's when you have to know that you're secure in yourself, that you're willing to walk away from something that's not necessarily what is going to help your soul to continue to evolve. The ultimate goal is co-creation with someone, to be able to have that vulnerability to speak, but you only can go through those steps on your own. And you can only understand that someone's only going to meet you to the level of depth that they've done the work on themselves and face their own shadows.
Yes, absolutely.
Otherwise, you're going to be like, you're going to be fighting a losing battle and really letting your nervous system be dysregulated from someone else's wounds. It's really learning to separate and understand your own patterns and know when they're going to come up, because they will.
They will.
I was anxious attachment, and even so, I'm secure, that anxiety still came up. And
Exactly.
I had to rope that bitch in and be like, nope, this is not gonna run me. Absolutely not. We're gonna deal with how
That
you're
is the
feeling.
difference.
That's the difference. That's the recovery time.
Yes.
That's that's the repattering. That's not just about the nervous system, because my nervous system was getting a little bit disrupted, but then I'm like, I know what to do. Breath work, right? My
Yes.
meditation, my cold
Yeah.
plunge, but also, how am I feeling in my body?
Yeah.
My body's not feeling safe here. Instead of being like, oh, this is chemistry, I'm like, no, this is a disaster. It's not
That's
chemistry.
chaos, but the chaos that the
It's
body is
chaos. It's
addicted
not
to
chemistry.
and he's used to. So that's what's familiar, that's what's known, and that's what you keep. If you don't heal, you keep attracting, and then you think that's the norm. So it's totally, it is normal to feel that way because you've been there the whole life. The nervous system is like, okay, that's my jam. The ego wants to keep you safe, so that's where we're staying, not understanding that those are the patterns that you have to break and the wounds you have to heal. So totally, one more time, you see, you were like an anxious you had an anxious attachment, and it's not that it's not coming up, but you see it in real time. You're like, okay, wait a minute, I am noticing this is what's happening to me in these days. For so many areas of my life, I'm actually observing myself, to the point that sometimes like, oh, okay, let me just stop because then it, like, you go to the rabbit hole. But you see, and then what you do, you also have to celebrate yourself, small wins, little baby step. But because we should be so proud of ourselves for our growth, and our, like,
Yes.
the evolution. It's the evolution. So how can you then go back, and even if you have a trigger, okay, that's fine, the ego is still there and you're still human. You're like, no, wait a minute, like, I've been there, I know now how to treat it, and that's it. And even fears, like, I teach my son when he's afraid and he doesn't want to speak up and he holds it, I'm like, wait a minute, what we do now, we say it out loud. Say it out loud and listen to it. Is it so scary? Like, really? And the other day was like, or actually, is that the truth? No, mommy. So there we
Right.
go. That's, you always have fears, but you move through the fears, and sometimes it's just because you're in your head and in a nervous
Yeah.
system that is dysregulated. That's what it is.
And you know how it's so important too, because then you can actually, when you do this work, you can see in the other person.
Of
And it's
course.
not a judgment. It's like you're saying to yourself, I know where you're at, because you might see something in them that, you see the vulnerability, you see they're afraid to be seen. They're afraid to be seen. And when you are spiritually gifted or you've done the work and you can see somebody on a soul level, it's like, I see you.
Yeah.
I can see you,
Yeah.
but you don't want to be seen. And sometimes, God says, you know what? Sometimes people aren't ready to be seen. They don't want to show that self. They don't want to show that vulnerable self. They want to continue to stay in the ego. They want to stay in that ego, and the ego subconsciously is trying to protect them, but what it's doing is it's sabotaging your relationships.
It
It's
would be so
sabotaging your
much
life.
it would be so much easier now that we've walked, and we're still walking, or as you said, because before, of course, guys, before like going live, well, recording, and like we always talk, and I was like, well, I'm
Yeah.
walking, and she was like, well, or even if you crawl, that's still fine. Like, now that we see, it's so much easier to be freaking vulnerable. Come on, there's not the end. It's not the end of the world. It's actually a progression, like
No,
progress over perfection. You move individually and together, and that's how you like the relationship. No matter the relationship grows, changes at least. Because I mean, it can be stuck
it's a
in the
freedom though. It's such a freedom. And you know what the key I found is? Sure. After this stuff happens and your triggers, maybe you don't align, you could do one or two things. You could say, oh, never doing that again. I'm going back to suppressing. No, no, I'm not going to do that. You know why? I'm going to be vulnerable the next time too. You know why? Because I'm going to be vulnerable the next time. I'm going to show my true authentic self. I'm going to show the love I have to give because I went through the flames of hell to get here. So the last thing I'm going to do is to suppress those emotions again, to suppress who I am. You know what? I am a butterfly. I am no longer a caterpillar. I am letting myself fly. And if I bang into a wall, so be it. So
yeah.
be it. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to go back to that. And the key is look at your inner mirror. Look at your inner mirror because the things that are happening on your outside are a direct relationship to what's going on inside. If you don't feel worthy of receiving, then maybe you're not going to meet love. If you don't feel worthy of receiving, maybe your business isn't going to grow. If you're feeling like a failure, then what's going to happen? More failures are going to come in. And people think, no, that's not how it is. No, that is how it is. It is how
Yes.
it is. You have to look inward. You could travel the world, and guess where? The longest journey is into your own soul, and it's right here. That's the only place you're going to find it. You're not going to always like what you see. There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of wounds, but we have to start doing the work because
Yeah.
if not, you're just the walking wounded. It's like a bunch of zombies walking around. The walking
Yeah.
wounded is what this world is.
Security comes from within. You're your own anchor. I mean, my client, one of my clients, like is extremely successful, but like the security, the validation, the sense of belonging, like everything that comes from outside, not understand. This is what we're of course working on and healing. It's not outside. It doesn't even exist. Everything is a reflection. It's like if you want to change the reality, which is the movie, you have to go inward and actually change it, like you're in the cinema, like the movie theater. Otherwise,
It's true.
it won't change on the screen. So the security comes
It's a
from within.
balance.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
does. And I find too, okay, a lot of people who are extremely successful, not all, but a lot of people who are extremely successful are trauma. And why is that? Why is that? Because you're always proving. You always
Mm-hmm.
have to meet the next goal. You always
Mm-hmm.
have to do the next thing. Now, can that trauma be very, very beneficial to you? Yes, if you know how to use it. Just like anger. People can have anger. Can anger be a good source? Sure, if you use it constructively and not destructively. It's one or the other. You can get for me, I love when someone tells me I can't do something. I love when someone doubts me because you know what? Even if I didn't want to do it, now I'm going to do it the best I ever had. I'm going to, because that's just what drives me. I
Yeah.
love when people challenge me. Like you're going to challenge me. Maybe that's something in me, but to me, I've always used it to be productive.
Yeah.
I've used it.
Yes.
But what I have learned is that I don't need anybody's validation anymore. That
No.
is where that will drown you. That is the shadow of that validation. And that's not just in relationships, it's in
If
everything.
if you're looking for approval and validation and from your the other person, that's not life. Let's go back to the stages that you mentioned at the beginning because
Mhm.
like people may want to go through them and see
Yeah.
where they're at. Maybe they see themselves in those
We could
stages.
put this in the show notes too. We should
Oh,
put this in the
absolutely.
show notes
Yes.
because it's
Yeah, we
good.
should. Yeah, we
So,
should.
so when I was doing research and I was really going through it and stuff and writing my book about attached to love,
Mm-mm.
the first stage, and remember, it's not just relationship, it's individual. So
Yes.
curiosity and interest. Think about yourself. When you first start doing your healing, you got really curious about why am I the way I am,
Yeah.
right? And then you got interested.
Yeah.
Same as everything. So that's where the stage of where you're wanting to learn more, right?
Let's
So
stop
then after
here
that, go
because
ahead.
you know why? Because actually you can get curious, or so many people get scared. And to the
Fear.
question, who am I? They don't want to open that box. Oh, I'll be fine. I'm surviving my life instead of living, but it's okay. So that's a big step because you're
The
curious.
masks on.
Yes.
Right? What's
Yep.
happening with that? Right now, here's your opportunity. And number one, stage one, am I going to take the mask I'm wearing? What
Yes.
mask am I wearing? Am I going to take it off? Or am I
Yeah.
going to continue on to step two, emotional safety? So, same thing with yourself or with somebody else. Being feeling emotionally safe. What are your needs? Do you even know what your needs are? For you want someone else to know your needs. Do you even know what the hell your needs are? You want someone else to read your mind and know exactly what you need, but do you know what you need?
And right
Right?
there, that's perfect because so many overrides their needs because they can't. So you're safe. Safety comes in from the body, lives in the body, in the nervous system.
Right.
So if you don't know how to listen to your body that speaks to you all the time, you keep overriding your needs, not even knowing what your needs are. So
And then what happens in that? Stage two, emotional safety. What happens in this? For the anxious attachment, you start people pleasing. You
mm-mm.
start self sacrificing, self
Yes.
sabotaging.
Yeah.
For the avoidant, what do? You start to flee, shut down,
Yeah.
because it's overwhelming for your
Yeah.
nervous
It
system,
is. So
right?
you freeze, you pause, you retract, and of course then it goes to the other stages. You're not consistent, you're not present, and the
Which is
silence
next?
kicks in.
How
Ex,
right? How can you get to the next stage? Reliability and consistency. How do you even get to that stage? These are actions matching your words. You stop feeling confused about what's going on. I mean, that's a whole nother mind thing when you're first getting to know somebody. The whole communication, people, communication is
yes.
key. So if you can't get past consistency, how do you think you're ever going to get into vulnerability?
I was
So
so
in this,
scared of
right?
speaking up. I was like, okay, if I say what I truly want and need, they'll run away. They'll think I'm too much. Well, no, that's not a good place to be. So maybe I rather stay quiet and keep pleasing and overriding my
And then
needs.
what's that? Right. But why did you do that? Well, we do that. Why? Because you're afraid of fear of abandonment, of rejection. That's where that kicks in. And
Yeah.
these are where these things kick in. So before you even get to vulnerability or acceptance, that's why people don't understand conflict repair. I mean, in a person I was just talking to, I was in conflict repair. They were still in curiosity and interest, and forget going emotional safety. I was in five. They were still floating around somewhere in one. It's like,
Zero point
and then
0.5.
you're not allowed, because if somebody can't communicate, forget about it. But how are you ever going to get to this? Because really the point of it is to really truly have that, and it is possible. It is so possible, but it's not possible unless you do it yourself first. That's why it's so important to at least do the work on yourself, so that if you meet somebody, they're either going to do what? They're going to test you. How far have you come? A soul check. I'm still learning. Nope, I've graduated that. Or somebody who else might have done the work is going to be aligned, and you can grow together.
Yeah,
This is
and
this
it
is
rise
this is
up. Yep.
an evolution, a journey. It's
Yeah.
not like you're ever going to be perfect in things. You're going to, and we're going to on other episodes talk about feminine and masculine energy, and really how dysfunctional that is in relationships too. That's
Oh
going to be
my,
great.
that's a
That's going to
big
take a
one. I
couple
love
episodes.
feminine and masculine energy. I could talk about it all day long. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we should hop into that next week. We'll
Yeah.
hop into the wounded of both, and then we'll
Yeah.
go into the healed of both. But these stages, and I'm going to send them. We'll put them in the show notes.
Yes.
Are so important. But if you look at them, you can realize that these are stages of a relationship, but they're stages within oneself as well.
Yes.
And if you
Totally.
can go through that, you check yourself. You know, people think, oh, this work is hard. Well, you can keep sitting in your shit because that's harder. It is. You can keep sitting in dysfunctional relationships. You can keep sitting in people pleasing. You can keep sitting in, jumping for validation. Or you can finally say, you know what? I want to have a relationship. I want to get to know me because then ultimately I'm going to be the one for myself before I am finding the one, because you're not going to find the one in anyone but you.
No, but people are afraid of being alone because they haven't done the work, and so they rather meet or stay in situations that are not aligned rather than just even being home with their own thoughts because that's scary. And I just want to say to all of the people who are listening, it is not that scary. It is, there's fear. But if you go through it, that's the only way out, is through. We are capable of incredible things. Like we can do it. It's not just me, Joelle, like all the people that done it. Like you can do it.
Right. That's what this is about. This podcast is for information. What we both do
Yeah.
is for information because we've been through it. Like, yeah, it's scary, it hurts, but you know what? Not doing it is more painful. Not knowing who you are is more of a painful journey because then everybody else and everybody else's opinion, everything else in your life is shaping who you are. And you already shaped as children of we come in and get shaped in things that we didn't choose. You have the right now to choose. Who do I want to be? What do I want to be? How do I want to be treated? How do I want to treat
Yeah,
others? It,
that's
it
that's
does
a
come
big one.
down to your own decision.
That's a big one because when people tell me about, oh, like I've been treated like this and that, and then he told me this, and she used to do that. So, okay, actually, it's not about that person. Why did you accepted it? It's different because, like, yeah, it comes
It
to
is. It is
self-love.
because the
And
thing is too.
yeah, so everything
Because you want to
starts,
try, because you're allowing it, you're still
of course
allowing
you
it.
are, exactly.
Even if you're giving loving, but you're letting somebody treat you that way, it's still an issue with you because
Yeah,
you're allowing it. And that's why we're going to say this, because this is why me and Valentina named this she. Okay, because it is she. But we're going to, at some point, we're going to be saying, we're going to take out the S and we're going to be doing he,
yeah,
because this is also for information for men.
of
This is for
course.
men too. Men need love. Men need understanding. Men need to feel valued and respected as well. They have
Compassion.
needs as well. They need the compassion. We're
Yeah,
not enemies. And the goal is to heal both the masculine and feminine
yeah.
so that we have a chance of having some kind of functioning relationship,
And you know what? To
it,
have fun and to
and have
just
fun, right?
the ultimate
Have
relationship
passion, have
is just
fun.
and to be a child again. That's what we've
Yeah, no
forgotten.
games. Like, come back and come forth, be who you
Be
are.
who
The
you are,
right
exactly.
Be who you
Yes.
are. The right person will align with you.
Yeah.
Don't try to be somebody else.
No.
You know what I mean? Don't try to be someone else. Who you are looks good on you, and the right soul is going to come in and value that part of you. You're going to kiss many frogs before you find your prince. You know what I mean?
And also,
And you're going
because
to
if
put
you
a lot of wrong shoes on Cinderella before you
yeah,
find your. Is it
yeah,
Cinderella?
yeah, it
Is
is.
it? Before
She's
you're going to
she's the
find
one.
your.
She's the one. But like, if you keep putting the mask and if you're keep acting as somebody like not who you are, that's not authentic. So then don't complain if you're in front of someone, next to someone who's not authentic. I mean, that's what you're attracting because that's where you emanate. It's all about energy. So that's like a reflection and you attract that. So we have, If you want to have a secure relationship, start working on yourself and magic happens. The shift happens. The energy, the wound heals, the patterns break. It's just incredible. But you have to commit to
You do.
yourself,
You
not
got to
to
commit to
to
yourself.
us, to somebody else, to an husband, to a wife, to a boss, to a friend, to yourself. It's your life. I just don't understand why so many people. I wanna probably I said it the other day, but I was shocked when somebody told me, "Oh, I'm miserable. I'm living like I'm probably in the worst place in my of all my life, all my 40 years." And I'm like, "Oh my God, like I really wanted to help. Oh, but I think I'll be fine."
Right. Because then what
Why?
happens? Because you're going to suppress again, or you're going to escape, or you don't think you deserve enough. You don't think you deserve enough. But the thing is like, listen, you can't bypass it. You can't. So you can either sit in it or you can be brave and do the work, because that is the bravest thing you can do. And like, even too, when we do calls, and I do my calls with my clients, I have an agreement. Like, you are your own inner healer. Like, you need to
Yes.
be committed to this. That's why for me, I only take select clients too, because I don't want to do talk therapy with you. I'm here to help you, to guide you
Yeah.
to transformation.
Transformational. Yes, exactly.
Transformation. You could sit and talk therapy for 20 more years if you want. We're not here to do that. We're here to change patterns, to transform you from the inside out. But you are the main character of that.
It is so rewarding and so exciting. And don't you want to be on the other side? I mean, come on. Yes, I want
Yeah,
it.
the other side's beautiful. I'm
Yeah.
like, it really is, and it's a constant growing thing. So next week we'll be starting a new topic. We'll
Yes.
leave it for a surprise.
Yes, of
And
course.
we're gonna Right, and we're gonna put this information in the show
In
notes,
the
right?
notes,
We'll put some of the
yes.
information,
Yes, yes,
and we'll
yes.
maybe send out a
So
trailer or something.
thank you so much, Joel. This was very, very interesting. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure our listeners will on Friday. So I will talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.